The house felt unbearably quiet on the first night after Clara left for her studies. Mark stood at the doorway long after her taxi disappeared, as if her shadow might still be waiting outside. The echo of her goodbye lingered in his chest, heavy and unresolved. He tried to distract himself. He cleaned the kitchen that was already spotless. He folded clothes that did not need folding. But no matter where he went, the silence followed him. It sat with him at the table in the living room, and beside him on the empty side of the bed. Clara had promised to call every night, and she did. But even her voice on the phone could not replace the empty chair across from him. Days passed in the same quiet routine. Work, return home, eat alone, wait for sleep. Sleep rarely came. One afternoon, as Mark stared blankly at the wall clock, a sudden knock broke the stillness. He opened the door and found Clara's mother, Mrs. Helen, standing there with a small bag of food and a worried smile. She said she did not want him eating alone. She had made soup. Mark felt surprised but grateful. He invited her inside. They talked about Clara, about her journey, about her dreams of leaving the town. Mrs. Helen looked around the house and sighed softly. "It feels strange without her voice," she said. Mark felt the same way, but the words stayed trapped in his chest. After that day, Mrs. Helen came again and again, sometimes with bread, sometimes with fruit, sometimes with warm homemade meals that made the house smell like comfort again. Slowly, her visits became part of Mark's week. They talked about small things at first, the weather, work, the neighbors, but soon their conversations grew deeper. Mrs. Helen shared stories of Clara as a child, how she used to hide books under her pillow, how she dreamed of cities bigger than their small town. Mark listened with a soft smile, feeling both pride and sadness at the same time. One evening, rain poured heavily outside. Mrs. Helen stayed longer than usual. The sound of water on the roof filled the silence between them. Mark noticed how tired she looked, how her hands trembled slightly as she held her tea. She admitted she worried every night about Clara being alone in a new city. Mark confessed he worried too, that sometimes he couldn't sleep at all. For the first time since Clara left, he felt understood. The house, once cold and quiet, now carried soft voices and warm light. But something else began to grow inside him, a feeling he didn't want to name. He found himself waiting for the sound of her knock at the door, feeling relief when she arrived, feeling emptiness when she didn't. He told himself it was only because she reminded him of Clara. Yet every time she sat across from him, the space between them felt smaller, as if silence itself was pulling them closer. One night, during dinner, Mrs. Helen said quietly, "Loneliness makes people weak. Hearts search for warmth in quiet places." Her words hung in the air like smoke. Mark stood up to wash the dishes, afraid of what he might say if he stayed seated. When she left that night, he leaned against the closed door, his heart racing for reasons he could not explain. The house no longer felt empty, but it felt full of questions. Weeks passed. Their conversations became longer, more personal. They spoke about Clara, about regrets, about fears, about the ache of watching life change. One stormy night, the power went out. Candles flickered across the room. Rain drummed against the windows. Mrs. Helen whispered, "Sometimes I feel like I already lost her." Mark felt that same pain in his chest. In that candlelight, he saw her not just as Clara's mother, but as a lonely woman, fragile, human, and he realized how dangerous comfort could become. He stood up suddenly. "I think I should call Clara," he said. Mrs. Helen nodded. "Yes, you should." That night, Mark finally admitted the truth to himself. Loneliness had blurred emotions. Comfort had started to feel like closeness, and closeness was beginning to feel like something else. But he loved Clara, and he had to protect that love. From that day forward, he created boundaries. Mrs. Helen still visited, but the air between them changed. Less intense, more balanced, warm, but safe. One afternoon she said softly, "Sometimes we just need to be seen. Nothing more." Mark smiled, and for the first time he felt peace instead of confusion. When Clara returned home for a short break, she noticed the difference immediately. The house felt calm, honest, warm. She hugged her father and her mother tightly, "I think distance taught us something," she said. And she was right. They had all learned. Mrs. Helen learned how to care without crossing lines. Mark learned how to recognize emotions without being ruled by them. And Clara learned that love could survive distance when built on trust. The house, once filled with silence and uncertainty, became a place of emotional safety. Not dramatic, not perfect, but real. That night, as Mark watched Clara and her mother laughing in the kitchen, he understood the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the strongest love is not the one that holds tighter, but the one that knows when to gently step back. And for the first time in months, the house truly felt like home again.